So this video is going to be an exploration of sensation, physical body sensation. And we're looking for whether or not there are any boundaries to the body, whether there actually is an inside or an outside, or whether there is an object called body at all in our immediate experience. So this is a practical exercise. The idea is to do it along with me and explore your own experience in as direct a way as possible. If at any point it feels like you're in your mind analyzing, trying to figure out whether you agree or disagree, judging what's being said, or even judging your own experience, always notice that's a thought. And then just move your attention back to the sensations. So we'll start by just allowing our attention to slide down into the body. This means just feel anything that's available. If you don't have a good sense of what the inside of the body feels like, then feel something that's a contact point, such as your foot with the floor. Just notice that contact point, just the feeling of it, the sensation. If that's too vague, you can even move your foot a bit, or move your hands or rub them together until the sensation of that contact point starts becoming obvious. Once you have that sensation, once the attention is on that sensation, then just let it dilate out a bit. Again, keeping our attention in the feeling itself, see if you can't notice that there's a space beyond the area you were initially feeling that is also composed of the same sensation. So this isn't like we're applying attention to something out there. It's much more like we're letting the sensation come to us, or we're just letting the sensation exist how and where it is without altering it, without putting anything on top of it. So we're just keeping our attention in those sensations. So let's start with the feet. Notice the contact points of where the feet are touching either the floor or the chair, or whether your feet are touching other parts of your body if you're sitting in a lotus position, etc. Just the contact points. Now, let's keep our attention there and ask, what is this like when we don't label this foot or contact or floor, but just feel it? Can we let just a little bit of that label veil fall away and notice the sensation maybe becomes a little more profound or deep or intimate or subtle? If it doesn't, that's fine, but we can inquire again. Where's my attention? Am I thinking about this? Am I visualizing a foot in the mind? Is there an image of a foot or the leg or the floor? And if there is, that's fine. Then we can just take our attention and gently move it back to the sensations there. Just the feeling, just the sensation. Almost as if you don't know what it is. You don't know it's a foot or a leg or a part of the body even. Or perhaps you don't even know if it's actual body sensation or sound or some other sense. It's just that raw material. The raw material of feeling. So we're just letting our attention steep in that. We're letting that feeling or sensation or cloud of experience clarify itself naturally in this environment. Nothing more. Very simple. Now, have you noticed it expand or it's suddenly coalescing in other parts of the body, like more of a sensation field or a cloud of sensation? It may or may not be marked by body wall images in the mind. For instance, you might feel the sensations in both feet simultaneously and recognize that there's also a thought overlay, which is sort of an image of the feet, or just a narrative that says, I'm feeling the feet. So if we drop the narrative, we drop any images in the mind and any analysis of what sensation is about, and drop any labels, then there's just that sensation. You might notice that the sensation between what you might call the area of one foot and what you might call the area of the other foot is continuous, as if it's sort of in each foot and sort of between the feet. Now, I'm going only to the sensation for this information. I'm not going to the image in the mind or an analysis of what's happening, etc. It's the sensation itself. So once you notice that the sensation is perhaps bigger or less defined by space, but more defined by intimacy, then you can take the next step. And by the way, if this isn't as clear as I'm describing it right now, just go back through the steps. Do it as many times as you have to. You can use the video or you can do it on your own. But once you get to this place where it's expanding beyond the local area of the foot or the feet, then you can sort of take the next step, which is instead of picking one part of the body, just notice the entire sense field of the body at once. Now, if that's too hard to do, you can scan. Notice the head and face sensations, the neck, chest, shoulders, arms, belly, pelvis, legs, knees, feet, etc. You can scan through and you can sort of pick it all up at once. And in the same way as we were working with the localized sensations in a foot or another part of the body, we can drop the labels and just keep that sensation as it is. Let the sensation be what it is. We can drop the image of the body or the belief that this is emanating from a body, because that's a belief. We learned it. But you won't find that information in the sensation itself. Now here you might even experience some strange sensations or something that could feel a little bit like dizziness or vertigo or nausea, or just different or strange types of sensations. Pinpricks, warm, cool, dull, sharp, it doesn't really matter. None of these mean anything specific. But just know that once we start having the ability to just rest in this entire sense field, the body and its sort of surrounding, if you've started to notice the body wall is not there, then often some energies get loosened up. And you can even have Kundalini type experiences where you might twitch or flinch. It's not uncommon. If you don't have that, it's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. But if it does occur, it's pretty normal. You might have a flinch of the arm or the hand or the neck. The body might just twitch. That's fine. Just return your attention to the sense field. So from this place, it might just feel like a sort of cloud of sensation. It might feel centered around the body, or it might feel like it's almost coming from outside and inside at the same time. Almost like it's emanating from the periphery and whatever feels like the center at the same time. So it's as if the directionality has changed or dissolved. Instead of the direction being as if the sensation is coming from one part of the body and sort of being received by the mind or by awareness, it's as if the sensation is emanating from every direction into itself. And so this is another sort of step in the clarity of this process. And again, just go back through it until you start to pick this up. Once you're resting in this sense field that really has no body wall, environment, or defined environment opposed to the body environment, and no specific objects outwardly, it's just a sensation field that's just self-feeling, self-aware, but it doesn't have parts. It doesn't have a receiver of sensation. It doesn't have a center. Then there's not a whole lot more to do with this particular practice. Just rest in that. Because once this is clear, there won't be a sense of trying to get somewhere or do something or seeking, because you're able to just rest attention so fully in this sense field that it typically becomes very enjoyable, peaceful, natural, innocent, and very direct and intimate. So simply resting in this and just being alert enough to notice if an image of a boundary seems to appear or the mind wanders, just bring yourself back through those steps until there's just this cloud of feeling, cloud of experiencing that's self-experiencing without a source or a direction, without any need or purpose, and there's nothing to figure out here. It's that intimate. When the intimacy becomes clear, the sense of having to figure this out is gone. the sense of having doubt around this is gone. The sense of the question arising, am I doing the right thing or am I in the right place? Gone. So those are kind of the litmus tests for when you've really come into formlessness, at least in this sense field. So work with that. And by the way, this video is an answer to a question I got online when I asked what topics people wanted to see covered. A few people said this. So I hope it's helpful.